Marvel's Black Panther was a revolutionary moment.
Black Panther was more than just a superhero movie. It was a cultural phenomenon.
Is this what you wanted?
It opened the door for Shang-Chi to exist. It opened the door, in my opinion, for the success of Crazy Rich Asians. It opened the door for The Woman King.
It combined a big budget and a diverse cast to become Marvel's first successful movie with a black lead. Black people all over the world could finally see themselves represented on the big screen like never before. It inspired people to engage with their cultural roots, popularize the Wakanda Forever gesture, and hold big at the global box office. Celebrities and institutions donated so that underprivileged kids could watch this movie, and people of all kinds were finally able to support the black community simply by watching this movie.
We saw the start of the Black Panther Challenge online.
The Black Panther Challenge is actually the largest GoFundMe in history.
Its 2022 sequel, Wakanda Forever, broke glass ceilings by starring the first high-profile black female superhero on the big screen. In a similar way, The Woman King was an unprecedented opportunity to put African history on the global map. Everyone was encouraged to go watch it to show that black women could also lead a successful big-budget blockbuster. The result was a black female lead hit movie that topped the box office in its opening weekend. All of these achievements would be remarkably revolutionary and novel if history studied in 2016. The novel revolution is a marketing strategy as old as marketing itself, and in the mid-2010s, it became all the rage to market Hollywood projects using identity. Suddenly, there was a barrage of firsts and revolutions for every kind of identity group. Infamously, Jennifer Lawrence was the first woman to lead a big action franchise.
I remember when I was doing Hunger Games, nobody had ever put a woman in the lead of an action movie.
Yeah. Hold up, wait a minute.
I remember when I was doing Hunger Games, nobody had ever put a woman in the lead of an action movie because it wouldn't work. We were told girls and boys can both identify with a male lead, but boys cannot identify with a female lead.
Oh, absolutely.
And it just makes me so happy every single time I see a movie come out that just blows through every single one of those beliefs and proves that it is just a lie to keep certain people out of the movies, to keep certain people in the same positions that they've always been in. And it's just amazing to watch it happen and watch you at the helm.
Therefore, it's no surprise that Jennifer Lawrence was mocked in spades for this attempt to elevate herself by diminishing the accomplishments of other women before her.
Another one.
So I play the character of Princess Disa. She is the first female dwarf that we will ever see on screen.
Woo, woo, woo.
Yeah.
Another one.
There will no longer be a time where you can say there are no elves of color. So we erased that one, you know? This conversation will never be there. Oh, no, I'm an elf.
The Woman King tried to ride this wave in its own way. If you did not watch this movie, you'd be guilty of holding up barriers for black women in Hollywood.
It will just be a moment if people don't come see the movie.
Hey, you heard?
Okay?
That's right.
Because you're sending a very clear message to a machine called Hollywood. So if you don't come see it, then you're sending a message that black women cannot lead the box office globally.
This would have you disregard the illustrious careers of Halle Berry and Whoopi Goldberg, who led successful projects for decades before. Even its box office achievement looks much less impressive considering that it opened in the worst September box office in decades and there was no comparable competition. In a similar way, the Black Panther revolutionized black-led comic book movies if Blade did not lift Marvel out of a slump at a time when there was no momentum for superhero movies. It revolutionized diversity if diversity is defined as casting people that look alike, and black-dominated movies did not achieve this before. Indeed, this campaign would have you believe that the cast of the Black Panther is more diverse than that of Blade, and Shuri's comic book legacy treads ground that X-Men Storm hasn't covered before.
Some motherfuckers are always trying to ice skate uphill.
You see this scene and the bullets are just bouncing off of the Black Panther. People lost it. In a world where we are protesting for no bullets to be aimed at a black person, to see them bounce off from a police helicopter, that's something special.
To be fair, Black Panther does have some genuine firsts. It was the first high-profile comic book adaptation of an African setting on the big screen, albeit an Africa envisioned by Hollywood, rife with tropes and shortcomings that we've looked at before. Regardless, Black Panther's worldwide box office success is the largest of a black-led superhero movie, an achievement that even its sequel failed to live up to. Presenting achievements this way does raise important questions about lionizing racial identity in general. Is it praiseworthy to simply just be? Are innate characteristics worthy of so much celebration? And why are some celebrated where others cannot be? Answering these questions comprehensively is an academic endeavor that would require a data-driven dive into socioeconomic and cultural dynamics that I will explore on my second academic channel. For now, I will explore this from the perspective of Hollywood and its audiences. On the one hand, some people need to see a cast that looks like them to be able to enjoy and relate to characters.
So what I love about being a part of this universe is the diversity and the inclusion, and so people can recognize that people who look like you are out here.
To see primarily a cast of African and African American descent in front of the camera, it's historical. It moves me, it moves me to tears. I get to take my kid to go see a black superhero movie, and he gets to see an image of himself as the man.
We got more talent in our little toe than most cultures, okay? But I love y'all. It's just the bottom line. I just feel great being a black woman. Oh my God, look at me, I love myself.
Seeing actors of the same race is a boost to self-esteem and a way to learn from others with similar struggles. Emphasizing race is essential to healing wounds of past discrimination through present and future discrimination, and the perpetual revolution is a big part of this.
Do you think Hollywood is racist?
Yes.
Yes?
Well, what else is new?
Well, do you think they're racist because they're only concerned about the bottom line? Or they just don't like black people?
You know, you gotta say that there is inherent racism somewhere in there because of the opportunities that we don't get.
Well, I'm here at the Academy Awards, otherwise known as the White People's Choice Awards. Hey, if you want black nominees every year, you need to just have black categories. That's what you need. You need to have black categories.
Counterculture? Is that what you think this is? Your little show?
What about my show?
Your show is racist.
Black people can't be racist. Prejudice, yes, but not racist. Racism describes a system of disadvantage based on race. Black people can't be racist since we don't stand to benefit from such a system.
With that in mind, it's no surprise that every big Hollywood project featuring black actors scrambles to market itself as a revolutionary first something, no doubt hoping to ride the revolution regardless of how many successful black actors and projects have come before. Conceivably, the revolution ends when the tables are completely turned and everyone has similar outcomes based on metrics that the revolution decides. On the other hand, other people watch movies to connect with characters simply because they're human, or simply for entertainment and escapism.
August Wilson is one of the greatest writers in American history. He touches on things that are universal. We were doing a Q&A the other day. We had a screening, and someone asked. He said, "I didn't know Troy was Polish," or whatever. However he said it. So the themes are universal. The universal stems from the specific. This is specifically an African-American family, but betrayal and frustration and going outside the marriage, adultery, and all those themes are universal.
As a child, Peter Parker was my favorite superhero, despite the fact that I was as far away from New York as humanly possible, and not an orphan and certainly not shooting webs out of my wrists. His boundless desire to help people despite deep family tragedy, his special abilities, and Tobey Maguire's performance were captivating on their own. In a similar way, T'Challa in Captain America Civil War captivated me because he was principled, he was fierce, and he fought with his own unique feline style.
Move, Captain. I won't ask a second time.
Chadwick Boseman's stellar performance brought undeniable gravitas to the role that will forever be missed in his absence.
I'm glad.
I don't care.
While this perspective may seem naive and lacks racial essentialism, it's an alternative way to bridge social division by treating people as individuals and encouraging them to develop their own merits. It posits that acknowledging that the world has changed a lot and connecting with what makes us human is better than highlighting the same differences that were the cause of division in the first place.
Do you think that race plays a part in wealth distribution, or either a mindset that you can't or
Today?
cannot? Yeah.
No.
You don't?
No, I don't. I don't. You and I, we're proof. Why would race have anything to do with it?
But it's hard to, when you say that to some people, because they say, oh, there you go with a pull yourself up by the bootstraps thing, and, you know, you're just being respectable. Not everybody can do that.
Well, just as from the standpoint of having been born with little, you can hear, you can always get out of that.
It seems like every single day on television I'm talking about race, and it's because of the news cycle, it's in the news, but sometimes I get so tired of talking about it, I want to just go, this is over, can we move on?
And if you talk about it, it exists.
Right.
Yeah. It's not like it exists and we refuse to talk about it, but making it a bigger issue than it needs to be is probably.
Things have been changing. It didn't start this week. I've been in this business 40 years. In the 40 years, things have changed a lot. Things are continually changing for the better. Here's the thing you got to remember. When you talk about racial and you talk about discrimination, maybe, what if he just wasn't good enough? See, it's so easy to just say, oh, it's because of this. It's because of racism. Oh, I didn't get the job because of that. Maybe you weren't good enough. You can change laws, but you can't legislate people into loving you. That takes time, and it depends upon what's going on in their home. You can change the law, but if you go home and teach your son how to hate every day, doesn't matter what law has been changed. Until you teach your son how to love, then the law is not going to change the way your son feels. That's exactly what happens in our film. Troy is miseducating Corey. He's telling him what he's not going to be able to do and how the white man is going to hold his son. Now, all those things, which aren't even necessarily true. Maybe they were more true, or maybe that's the way he felt about it in his time.
Ultimately, each viewer's perspective will depend on their life experiences and how they choose to perceive them, what attitudes they find useful, and what type of society they want to live in. This second perspective beckons a new set of questions of its own. Is it more productive to celebrate people for how they perform and how they behave? Is it better to celebrate movies for being intelligently written and competently shot? Is the future of cinema better when movies are celebrated for how they are received by audiences and perform at the box office? Earlier in the 20th century, Hattie McDaniels overcame the challenges of a segregated America to become the first black person to win an Academy Award. Even without a widespread marketing campaign highlighting her race, Hattie's performance in Gone with the Wind transcended the concrete racial prejudice of the time. Through the second half of the 20th century to the early 2000s, Carl Weathers, Morgan Freeman, Denzel Washington, Wesley Snipes, Will Smith, among others, continued to dish out hit after hit.
Always bet on black.
They brought legendary performances to the big screen to the praise of fans and critics alike. There is no doubt that they had detractors, as all public figures do, but their consistent success at the box office won out, and the legacy of their work endures to today. These actors are celebrated because they were and are great performers, and great performances break real and perceived barriers on their own.
What can I say? I'm a blast from the past.
You see, people are more similar than we are different, and we have a shared appreciation of outstanding people no matter how they look. Long before the 2010s, people of all kinds supported good movies by black actors by voting with their wallet, no doubt fully aware that these actors were indeed black, and all without the backing of a racial campaign sensationalizing their status as the first black something. At best, these racialized campaigns boost the racial pride of some groups at the necessary exclusion of others.
This message is to all the white people who have BLM in their bio. If you really want to prove to black people that you love us and you care about us and you are down for the cause, do not go see that movie opening weekend. You buy your ticket, you give it to a black person or a black family who can't afford to go, and then you go sit at that theater in front of the doors. you make sure that every black person in that theater can enjoy that movie in peace. And go see it on the second or third weekend. But the first weekend, that's for us. To do anything other than this is anti-black.
At worst, they are divisive and diminish opportunities for diverse people to bond over universal human experiences. They revise the past in order to manufacture firsts and revolutions. Historical accuracy be damned. When all is said and done, the only true revolution of the 2010s may be billion-dollar studios convincing customers that they are truly changing the world by giving over their hard-earned cash. That's all for this video. What do you think about Hollywood's modern revisionist revolution? Let me know what you think down below. Thanks to all the new subscribers and thoughtful comments on the last video. Stay tuned and stay cool.
You know, race relationships have to do with race relationships. You're white or whatever you are, I'm black or whatever I am. We're standing here talking now. That's how we get things done. You can't legislate love.